Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Matthew G. I'm one of the founders of Rep Leadership, and today we're going to talk about how to start or grow a real estate photography business. This is our complete workshop, and we jam pack a whole lot of value into this video. And so, before I jump into it, it's a beginner workshop. And what do I mean by beginner? Well, either you haven't started your real estate photo business yet, or you're under $10,000 a month, right? And so, that's sort of who this video is meant to kind of serve. And if you are in that category, I promise there's going to be a lot of value put into this whole entire thing. And so even if you're watching this and you're like, I kind of know a lot about the stuff that he's talking about right now, I promise, keep watching. There's a lot in here. And so what we're going to start with is, obviously this is a real estate photography workshop, right? And so that we're Rep Leadership, this is Rep Leads, all that good stuff. Let's hit the ground running. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to go through an intro, then we're going to go about who we are. Then we're going to jump directly into how to shoot, how to price, how to get clients. That's going to be very, very tangible stuff. We're going to talk about some common questions we hear from beginners in our program, and then a little bit of closing thoughts on everything, kind of round it all out, all right? And so the intro is essentially what you're going to learn today. And what we're going to talk about is how you can consistently make $5,000 to $10,000 a month with a camera shooting real estate photography. And if you're watching this, you're like, there's no way I can do that. I used to think that before I started my real estate photo business. A little bit more on that in a second. I used to think that, but I promise I see people every single day doing that. And if you're sitting here thinking that's not possible, my goal is the rest of this video to show you that it is possible. And just one more quick note on that is you don't have to know a lot about photography to be a real estate photographer. Now, if you do, it's not going to hurt you, right? But a lot of the stuff it's systematic. It's almost like a science. And so we're going to talk about a little bit about that science. But once you have that skill, you kind of keep that skill forever, and you can really start marketing yourself and start making a lot of money doing it. And when I say $5,000 to $10,000 a month, most of the people that are in our program are hitting that $10,000 a month number. And if you're doing quick math in your head, yes, that's 6 figures a year, taking photos of houses, working on your own time, working on your business that you own. And it's pretty cool if I don't, it's pretty cool, right? And so we're going to talk about exactly how to do it, even if you have no experience and have no clients and have never started a business before. If you're watching this, you're at 5, 6, 7K, and you're like, how do I get to that last $10,000? Like, how do I hit that number? We're going to talk about that as well if you do have experience. We're not going to give any fluff, no theory. We're just going to give you a step-by-step roadmap. All right, that's what we kind of pride ourselves on at Rep Leadership, is a step-by-step roadmap. You might have seen other videos from other people. We're going to tell you exactly what to do. And so who am I? I'm talking to you this entire time. Who the hell am I? Well, I'm Matthew G. I own Rep Leadership. I also started my own real estate photo business. We scaled that up to $50,000 a month, a little bit more than that now, but around $50,000 a month. And now I help coach hundreds and hundreds of other real estate photographers at all different varying levels, people who are just getting started out and people who are doing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, right? Even companies much bigger than mine. It's pretty crazy how much money there is to be made in real estate photography. And we are consistently helping people hit those $10,000 a month, starting at zero and hitting that $10,000 a month. And if you're sitting there being like, how is that even possible? Because this is a science, this is a step-by-step process. And if you do it and you do listen to us, you absolutely can hit that number. And so, like I said, this is a theory. This is a proven system, and we do it every single day for people all across the country. And so who we are is we are a real estate media company ourselves, right? This is our last month of shoots, and this is the next day, and then this is the next day. And we do a lot of shoots, and here are some of the people at our company, right? I picked some of my favorite people. Don't tell the rest of the team. This is Connor, Brooke, Jesse. They are all part of eState Photography, which is our real estate media company, right? And so when I first started, I didn't have a team like this. We weren't doing this many shoots, okay? And so now we do have a team that we can scale out and really start to bring a lot of people, more shoots into the business and all that good stuff. But when I first started, it was just me. It was just my business partner. We were driving around, drinking coffee, listening to podcasts, and just grinding and trying to figure out, how do you scale a team? How do you get more and more shoots in the door every single month? And that's sort of what we're going to be talking about the rest of this video. This is our website. This is how much revenue we've done so far this year at the filming of this video. If you see this over here, our average order value, it's a little bit lower, right, than what we want people to be at. But we just do such high volume, such a bunch of different amount of shoots, different types of shoots, things like that. And that's what I want to talk to you. We'll get a little bit more in the weeds a little bit later. But essentially, it is relatively market specific on what your specific numbers are going to look like. But we're in a really small market, and we're putting up crazy numbers. So just know that that's possible. If you're in a bigger market, I mean, those are the companies that are doing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and there's still levers to pull there. And so these are a few people that have been in the Rep Leadership program for a little bit now. This is Lucas, this is Judd, this is Ron. They've all recently hit 6 figures or more. Judd just won Best Photographer in Utah award. Ron has an entire team scaled out. He doesn't even go on shoots anymore. Lucas doesn't even go on shoots anymore. They're just absolutely crushing it, okay? And so the reason I put these people up there is because we just recently did interviews with them, so you can go out and check those out. But essentially just to show you that it is possible and there are people that are doing it right now. Maybe they're in your market, right? And so at one point, everybody who you see on the screen right now wasn't a real estate photographer. They didn't know about real estate photography. They all started at zero at a certain point, and then they scaled up, and now they're making six figures. I just got off a call with Lucas like a few days ago. The dude was in Hawaii, right? And so you can scale out of your business and work on your business and freaking live in Hawaii, which I think is pretty cool about real estate photography. And so here's some testimonials about the people who are in our Rep Leadership program. And okay, enough of that. We're going to talk about how to shoot, right? I told you I'm going to make this a concise video. We're going to talk about how to shoot. And if you're looking, this is a blank screen, because I'm not just going to give you, a bunch of willy-nilly bullshit, right? I'm not just going to say, oh, here's a photo and do that. I'm actually going to move over and show you our internal processes on our school right here, all right? And we're gonna go directly into how to shoot, okay? And so we have a whole bunch of content on here, and a lot of people pay a lot of money for this. And so what we're gonna do actually is jump directly into this real estate photography shot list, okay? And so going into how to shoot. If you watched it this far, I promised you value. I'm going to give you direct value on how to shoot real estate photos, okay? And so this doc is gonna show you step-by-step what shots to take at a property. And this isn't just some fake document. We literally give this to the photographers at our company. This is the exact same thing that we use to train the people when we're scaling out our own real estate media company. This is the same exact document we give to people in our program, okay? And so the camera that we use is Sony a7 III, and we use camera lenses between 14 and 16 millimeters, right? So you're gonna want a wide angle lens. And so I just wanna focus on this for a second. It really doesn't matter how nice your camera is. But the only thing that really does matter is that you have a wide angle lens, okay? And so if you don't have a wide angle lens, you can get a very, very cheap one on Facebook Marketplace, something like that. And I've had people who have lenses as wide as like 11 or 12 millimeters. Anywhere between 12 and 16 millimeters, you can probably even get away with 18 millimeter lens, but it still should be a wide angle. And so the settings for your camera is, and this is gonna sound like this shouldn't be it, but I promise real estate photography is a science, and we'll talk about editing in a second, but it doesn't have to be that crazy, okay? And so your focus is gonna be auto, your aperture priority is gonna be your ISO, right? It's gonna be auto, your f-stop's gonna be between 4 and 9, shooting mode, right? HDR bracketed photos, and just a quick side note on that, you might already know you should be taking HDR photos as a real estate photographer if you're doing it, or if you're about to start, you probably heard that. When we started our company, no one told us that, right? We had to figure that out ourselves, how to take HDR photos, and that might sound like, oh, it's super obvious. Back then, it wasn't obvious. If someone would have told me that when I started, I would have prayed to them, because it was so hard finding the perfect way to take photos, and you're getting that 100% for free. And so we're a little bit different than some of the people out there that tell you to shoot, 5 brackets and -2 and 0 and +2, all that stuff. We do -3, 0, +3. We do 3 bracketed HDR photos. Those are the ones that usually come out the best. And another see, I told you I'm going to give you value. Another piece of information is if you're using AI editing, it works better with 5 brackets, but we won't talk about that right now. And so the specs, right, you're gonna wanna have the tripod. You're gonna wanna put your camera on a tripod at the height of your stomach for interior photography. And then for exterior photography, you wanna put it at the height as tall as that tripod goes. And if you're really, really good, you're just gonna hold that camera above your head. And you're not gonna do any picture profile or flash photography. And so this is what the exterior photo, this is an example of an exterior photo, what it should look like. And the front photo is the main photo of the property. It's gonna be the first photo that people see when you're shooting that. The front photo is gonna be straight on. Then you're gonna do a left side angle and a right side angle, okay? And so a couple tips on that is the camera should always be elevated in the front photo. The tripod should be extended to 5 feet tall or taller for front photos. The house is tall, so the tripod should be tall. And what do I mean about left side angle, right side angle, right? So if you take a photo straight on like this, you take a photo over here and over here. That's really all you have to take on the exterior front of the property, about 3 photos, left, middle, center. Or sorry, left, middle, right, okay? Exterior back, this is an example of an exterior back photo. The backyard exterior will show the back of the house and the patio and what the property looks like from the back. That's obvious, right? And so the photo straight on facing the house, right, with the tripod that high. Then you're gonna do photo straight on facing the backyard. Okay, so you're gonna do one facing the house, you're gonna do one facing the backyard, and then you're gonna do angle photo standing in the corner of the yards, right? So think about it like this. If the backyards are rectangle, you're gonna hit all 4 corners, and then you're gonna hit middle of each side, right? So that's gonna be a 6 total, and maybe you can take a few extra. We have another video kind of walking you through what our photography workflow looks like, but essentially if you can visualize what I'm talking about, kind of like that, and then you get the exterior photos like that. Patio photos, right? These are some examples of what patio photos should look like. And what you're gonna wanna notice through all of the photos that I'm showing you how to shoot and exactly what you should be doing when you're taking the photos is you should box off each room or patio or porch or exterior, whatever. You should block it off into sort of square segments or rectangle segments, and you're gonna take the corners, okay? And then you're gonna take middle shots as well. And visualize each room being a box, and you're gonna take photos left, middle, center, right? Or I keep doing that. Left, middle, right? And so you're gonna lower the tripod down to your stomach when you're taking patio photos, face the house for the patio photo straight on or angle, and then face the backyard for the patio photo. So these are 2 examples of that. And then going down to interior property photography as a whole, we have this pretty awesome this is sort of what I mean, okay? And so if you have these rectangles, you're gonna be shooting the corners just like that, kitchen corner this way, this way, this way, this way. And so if you want to take a screenshot of this would be a perfect example of sort of what angles you should shoot in what property, and it could be any sort of floor plan, but essentially for what room and what angles and all that good stuff. And so the 2 main angles on every shoot, the angled shot, this is the 2-wall rule, okay? For an angled shot, only have 2 walls in the shot and the walls should meet together in the middle of the screen. On the straight on shot, this one is pretty self-explanatory, right? Stand in the middle, direct middle of the room and shoot straight to the other side of the room. And above you can see the 2 shots being performed at this house, the straight shot, the straight on shot, the angled shot, right? So straight on shot, angled shot, just like that. And when we say the 2-wall rule, what I mean by that is if you're standing in this corner, you're gonna wanna capture this wall and this wall with your wide angle lens. And some people say 3-wall rule, 1, 2, 3. You can probably get away with 2-wall rule, 1 and 2, okay? And then kitchen photography, right? Here's an example of one of those straight on shots for kitchen photography. You're going to take about 4 to 6 final photos, which is going to be about 12 to 18 raw 3 bracketed photos. You're going to shoot in raw, remember HDR bracketed photos, 4 to 6. And so for those, what we're going to be talking about is if I was just starting out, I would lean more on the higher total amount of photos, 6 total photos, right? And so straight on shots show the kitchen as a whole, etc., etc. Going into living room photography, this is an example of a living room photo right here, and the living room, kitchen, dining room, master bed, bath. All of those rooms are gonna have around 4 to 6 photos in each room, okay? Then the other bedrooms are gonna have between 2 and 3 photos in those rooms, okay? And so I'm gonna keep going through this, essentially going through the bathroom photography. And so a pro tip for bathroom photography, and then I'm gonna kind of move on to the next thing. Stand in the doorway so your images don't feel cramped, okay? And you can always edit out, right? This door right here, you can have your editors edit this out. But the bathrooms are always a little bit sort of more compact than other rooms, obviously. And so what you're gonna wanna do there is actually raise the camera a little bit higher when you're doing those bathroom photos, okay? And so essentially, if you want, right, instead of keep talking about this, if you want this photography shot list, then I will send it to you. In fact, on this sort of VSL video, whatever you want to call this workshop, right, I'm gonna have my email down there. Email me if you want this, and I will literally email you back this exact PDF. And if you literally just want to make a meeting with us to have this PDF, or DM me for this PDF, I will send you over this exact shot list, okay? And so going back to what we were talking about, on the next thing is going to be how to price. Okay, so I kind of went over how to shoot. Now we're going to go into how to price your real estate photos. And so there are 3 ways to price in real estate photography. Let's actually just go down here and we'll go to services, and then we'll go down to how to price, right? So you have 3 ways to price. You have flat fee, you have square footage, and then you have pricing per photo. And so on terms of what does that mean? So we'll talk about pricing per photo, square footage. For square footage, you would be charging more money the bigger the property is. For pricing per photo, you'd be charging for how many photos you're taking, 20 photos, 30 photos, 40 photos of the house. And so the reason that people will price per photo is because they pay per photo in editing. So you have fixed margins on that. And then the reason people price per square footage is because they know the bigger the property is, the more time it's going to take them, and the more willing a real estate agent is going to be to pay them more money, because the agent's actually making more money, usually on bigger houses, bigger commissions, so they don't really kind of give you any backlash if you raise that price. If you get really good at it, bigger houses, smaller houses, they can take the same amount of time depending on the services that you do, right? And so if you were to ask me if I was starting out how I would price my photos, I would price per square footage. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into why I don't think pricing per photo is the smartest thing to do. I don't want to go too into the weeds here. It just gives options, agents, more options you give a real estate agent. Sometimes the more problems there are, I mean that in the nicest way possible. You also give agents an opportunity to downsell themselves on your order page. Oh, I only need 20 photos, blah, 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 right? And so square footage kind of removes that. It's just house is this big, this is how much we're charging. And there's workflows about how to handle those objections and things like that. And then in terms of flat fee pricing, right, going over to flat fee pricing, a lot of your other add-on services might be flat fee, right? And so what I mean by that is instead of pricing per how big the house is or how many photos you're taking, you might just price it for a flat fee of X amount of dollars. That could be a social media reel. That could be virtual staging. That could be a floor plan. Just it's $38 or $55 for a floor plan, things like that. In terms of what specific numbers you should price your real estate services at, I would actually have to take a look at your market and your competitors and give you a whole breakdown of that. But I will say, just quick advice, is don't be the lowest priced person in your market, right? Because price has there's a mental, psychological thing that goes into price. And so if you're priced the lowest, real estate agents are going to think that you might just not have the best quality. So you want to be priced either in the middle or towards the top of your market. And it's going to be a higher perceived value of your pricing. And if you want to know what other people in your market are pricing at, then just Google real estate photographers near me and you'll see what your competitors are doing. And so the last thing I'll say about pricing is a lot of people think it's a massive lever. It's actually one of the smallest levers we have in real estate photography in terms of bringing on more business. And speaking of bringing on more business, right, going back to our sheet here is how to get clients in real estate photography, okay? And so going into how to get clients in real estate photography, we're going to go back to our little school here and go down to getting clients in real estate photography. We're going to go into best ways to market a rep agency, okay? And so before I jump into the best ways to market a rep agency, they're not going to really be blowing your mind because I'm sure you've thought about this stuff before, but I'm going to give you a little gold nugget about why people buy your services as a real estate photographer. And the reason that people work with anybody in any industry, but specifically real estate photography, is because they know who you are and they trust you, right? And so that might sound obvious, but it's important to kind of understand that because in real estate photography, what we have is called inherent value, right? It's 2025 at the date of recording this. And so going into this year, it's a lot different than when we started our real estate media company. And so when we're talking about inherent value, what I mean by that is most agents will use a real estate photographer on the shoots or on the listings that they have. And so it's not about should I use a real estate photographer, it's about which real estate photographer should I use. And so that's what goes into how many people know who I am equals how much business I have. And so if you change your perspective on doing that outreach, and if you change your perspective on sort of why you're doing the outreach and what the goal is, then you're gonna have a higher likelihood of success. So don't change it from, I should say, having a what has happened for me recently mindset, which is I've done outreach for the last 3 days and I haven't gotten any bookings to. As long as I'm doing outreach, people are getting to know me, and the more people who know me equals more money. And we have a very unique perspective on this. We work with hundreds of real estate photography companies, and the people who have the most people who know them are the ones who make the most money. And on an even shorter note, the people who scale to $10,000 the quickest are the people who do the most outreach, right? And so that is not a rule, that's a law, right? So you should do a bunch of outreach and you should try and get people to know you and try and get people to trust you. And that's why people work with real estate photographers, because they trust them and they know them. And one last thing on that, that's why word of mouth works so well, because you're killing two birds with one stone, because somebody who already knows and trusts you is telling someone they know to know and trust you, right? And that's essentially what word of mouth is, okay? So going into the best channels to market a rep agency, you have Instagram DMs, you have email outreach, you have phone calls, you have face-to-face brokerage meetings, and then you have text messages, and then you can do paid ads, you can do billboards, you can do just word of mouth, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into it, but essentially what you're gonna wanna do is all of them. But if you're just starting out, choose one and dominate that outreach channel, okay? And so when I first started my real estate photography company, we chose to text and call people, right? And so what we did is every new listing, every single day, we reached out to them and shot them a phone call and said, hey, my name's Matt, I own East State Photography. I'd love to work with you in the future. Here's my website, and here's what our prices are, okay? We didn't even have an offer back then, right? We just told people we existed. We did it religiously every single day. And then we added a whole bunch of cool outreach stuff on top of it. And that's what we help people with now, is implementing the right systems, the right automations, the right ways to get everybody to know you consistently, how to get lists of everybody in your area and all that good stuff, and automate outreach and a lot of more higher level things. But essentially you don't need all of that fancy stuff to get started. And so if I was you and I was watching this video and I wanted to start and I wanted to grow, and if I was under $10,000 a month, and if you're watching this and you're like, I'm at $9,000 a month, I don't need to be grinding outreach. Well, that's okay. But also, if you want to hit those 20, 30, 40, $50,000 months, then you should be grinding outreach, okay? And I mean that in the nicest way possible. And a little bit of context on that. We did outreach every single day until we hit $25,000 a month. Every single day. And guess what happened at $25,000 a month? We still did outreach, okay? And so I just want to put that into perspective because there's no such thing as too much outreach. You can do it nonstop, find time. You can do it all of the time. And so if I was just starting out, I would choose a channel, and I would do it every single day. And my goal would be to introduce myself to real estate agents and tell them that I exist. Because again, talking about what I just sort of said earlier, the more people who know you, the more money you're going to make. And so if you want the actual message to send them, I would say, hey, their name, my name is blank, I own XYZ.com. And if you don't have a website, I would say, I own this company. I would love to work with you in the future. I'm offering a free shoot, or I'm offering $100 off, or I'm offering free drone photos. I'm offering XYZ to get my foot in the door with you, period. And then I would put how much it costs to get started. Or if it's free to work with you, say free, right? And then I would send that every single day. And if I was talking to someone on the phone, I would say the exact same thing. So, hey, blank, my name is blank. I own this company. I would love to work with you in the future. I'm offering a free shoot to get my foot in the door with you. Let me know, right? Something like that. It's 100% free. Let me know. Blah, blah, blah. End it like just like that. Very, very quick. I would send that in DMs. I would send that in emails, send that in text, whatever it might be. And if it doesn't sound too fancy, it's because it doesn't have to be fancy, because the goal is just to get people to know you, right? And then if you want to learn more about how to automate it, how to make it better, and what better offers are and all that stuff, then make a meeting with our team, because we're going to show you exactly what we give people in terms of the automations, in terms of what channels to do and when to do it to the right people and what times to do it at. That's what we do in our program, is we help people scale from 0 to 10 to 50K a month, okay? And so just to round it out here, okay, we talked about how to get clients. Just to round it out with some closing thoughts. I told you 99% of this video is going to be proving who we are and sort of giving you some value. But just to round it out, if you do want to start a real estate photography company and you want to learn from people who have done it before, right? And when I say done it before, like, we currently own this company and we're currently scaling out a team and we do a lot of shoots. And not only that, we're currently helping hundreds of other photographers do the exact same thing. If that's interesting to you and you want to not make the mistakes that we made and you want to scale to that $10,000 a month sort of number, and you believe in real estate photography, then make a meeting with our team, because we're sitting there waiting for you. And the other cool thing about it is once you get into our program, you get to talk to all the other successful photographers in our program. Sort of what that looks like is you have one-on-one meetings with a consultant, and that consultant might be me. And if it's not me, it's someone else who owns a real estate media company who's absolutely crushing it, right? You have one-on-one access to everything I just kind of showed you and then some. You saw that school platform. There's an answer to any question you could possibly have inside of that school. And if you have questions about hiring people, if you have questions about automating or pricing or anything like that, that's what we do. And not only that, we do group calls every single week. We invite people into our program every single week to speak to people. And on top of that, we have deals with awesome editing companies and video editing companies and deals with photo delivery companies that are going to make it easier for you to start and scale. And so if that is interesting to you, then there's a calendar right below this video. Make a meeting with us. It might be me in the call. It might be my other founder in the call. It might be one of our salespeople who are super knowledgeable. And even if you don't end up working with us, you're going to find value in those calls, because we literally break down your market. We go into your market and we tell you what we would do if we were you. And we show you exactly what the roadmap is and the roadmap that we're going to tailor for you once you do join our program. And so I promised value. I promised to keep it quick and short. So that is the end of the video. So hit that button below and make a meeting with us if you do want to get started, if you do want to get rolling. And I hope to see you soon inside of the community.